Gruesome Magazine.
Hello once again. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings, and sometimes we do TV shows. Like tonight, we're reviewing Slasher Ripper episodes 4 and 5, catching up. We're having a great time doing this, and we hope you are enjoying our reviews. But let's first introduce the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. You know, you can always learn things from the stuff that we watch. So I've been putting together one of those little, those toolkits like the interrogators and torturers use, that you roll them up and you have all kinds of neat little pliers and pokey things and knives.
All right.
I'm putting one of those together.
All right, I got to make a phone call. 9-1. No, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, that was the whole thing. I'm so sad right now. I'm so...
All right.
I do that to make you look good. Absolutely.
There you go.
Oh, you can't. Okay, you can't get worse than me. It's just, where I fail is in my intros. If someone writes it or if I write it out beforehand, then I'm going to be okay. But you know what? I just don't have the time. Just don't have the time for that. And then I just get on here and I'm like, what was this show about? Freddie, that's it. It's embarrassing.
It should be obvious. I just made that up on the spot. I didn't spend any time on that.
Yeah, there you go.
With pokey things, which is a technical term.
Pokey.
Pokey things.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Crystal Cleveland, the Living Girl. Let's say hi. And joining us is Christopher G. Mohr, award-winning filmmaker. How you doing, sir?
To quote the series,
oh my God,
Margaret. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know what the hell you're talking about. But it's awesome.
I know. They have whether you like the show or not, you have to watch the episodes to find that specific wonderful.
It's true.
Scene.
Yep.
Yes.
So Crystal's so good at her intros, she does them before I even intro her. So that's the wonderful thing about it. She just
Did I?
She pre-intros.
I handed it to you before Doc.
I know. Just went away with it. All right.
Yeah.
So
my bad.
What this train wreck? So you didn't understand what I did when I just said there she is, and then one moved on because you'd already done it.
Yeah.
Because you were throwing me some.
Because I've kind of learned that I'm trying to take the lob. If someone tries to lob it, then I'm gonna try to pick it up. I'm gonna try to be a little bit better with that. The cues.
Right.
Apparently.
We got to talk about timing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this train wreck.
I know, Christopher. It's so bad. This is
reviewing Slasher Ripper episodes 4 and 5. We're going to give you our first impression of the episodes as a whole, and then those first impressions will be spoiler-free. We will get into a discussion about the episodes, and we will get into spoilers because it's a mystery show, and it's hard not to talk about the show without getting into the mystery elements of it. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5. Crystal. Mm-hmm. And our favorite scene.
Ooh.
All right. Ooh. We hope you enjoy this train wreck and various other train wrecks that we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, subscribe, and share with a friend buttons. They're easy and free to do. And each click will help us find more horror fans just like you.
Yes, totally. Yep, all you guys.
And Crystal's still throwing me shade. Look at all the shade she's throwing me. All right, let's take a look at the card. Slasher Ripper, streaming on Shudder. Episodes 4 and 5, Left-Handed Justice and Everybody's Darling. Synopsis for the 2 episodes are: the widow sends a nasty treat to Basil and friends, which sends Kashtinsky over the edge. Which one's the Botticelli sisters plan for Verdi to have their portraits taken. George, the prime suspect in the murders, preys on Regina. The widow's last victim is found on Valentine's Day, dragged to death behind a horse, spoilers, and made up to look like Cupid. A torn piece of the widow's weeds? That's weird. Sends Kenneth and Regina off on a hunt. Salomé entertains bidders for Verdi. All right. Is it Verdi? It is Verdi. Verdi, not Verdi. Verdi. English is hard. Directed by Adam McDonald, written by Ian Carpenter and Aaron Martin. The cast includes Eric McCormick, Brandon Oakes, Gabriel Darku, Daniel Cash, Joe Yanacola, Christopher Jaco, and Salvatore Antonio,
That sounds good.
and many others.
Sure. Yep.
All right, let's get into this. Crystal, what is your first impression of these two episodes?
Well, obviously I loved him. I think 4 might be my favorite episode so far. I mean,
Ooh,
because it
really?
starts off so funny. Well, yeah. I mean, it starts off
nice.
so funny and kind of gross. And then you get to see like a little bit more about the previous kill, like we talked about last week. You know, I was like, well, you've got to see the next episode to kind of get it all, you know, or get some of that gore. I do agree with Christopher that they get started out gorier, and I think they're getting less gory, but maybe not. I don't know. It's just a little sprinkling here and there, and it is seeming to go with like, you know, a kill an episode. We're kind of dwindling down the suspects here. Oh, I like too that the beginning of the 4th episode you get to see who all is involved here, because they're all eating together at that table. So we know who all should be on the hit list, which I didn't really realize that one of the sisters was involved in that as well. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah, she
interesting.
was in the picture.
Just
Yeah.
in the picture.
I knew she was in the picture, but not everyone in the picture, I don't think, was a target for sure. I think some of them were just there because,
I
right?
feel like all of them were a target. Everybody in the picture is a target. Unless one of them is the one that's the killing.
Well, and that's possible, right? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not much left. I mean, there's some betrayal. Actually, we're putting the 2 episodes in one.
Yes, we are.
Especially like the episode 5. Holy moly. It's kind of sad. The whole thing's kind of sad. I want to know, okay, it's kind of ridiculous if I'm being honest, because whoever the killer is knows, and if they're not one of the people involved, it's kind of silly because they know way too much about what happened. I mean, like they know every detail. They know who did this, who did that. It's like, I don't know. I have a feeling like that the killer is going to wind up being someone who was not involved, not directly involved. And then it's like, well, how did you find out about all this? Come on. How did you really find out about all this? So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I
But,
have my suspicions.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do too, right?
I do. Yes, I do. I mean, yeah, I really wanted to binge watch all the episodes, but you know, I didn't get a chance to do that because I don't have all the episodes, but you know, I mean, no big deal. Someone else does. Someone else did. I'm not naming names, Jeff, but you know, I mean,
More shade. More shade. There's the shade. Look at all the shade.
someone I am so bitter. I am so bitter that someone got to see all the episodes and they are not telling me what's going to happen and what did happen, and that's even making me more bitter.
And they
But I'm not
shouldn't, they shouldn't tell you.
I'm not an angry person. I don't get vengeance. I don't get payback. I'm not the widow.
I'm not
Bitter I
convinced.
can handle.
I'm not
Vengeance,
convinced.
then I'm
Not convinced. Jeff, what was your first impression of Ripper?
Well, I'm just all on board in this series. You know, strangely enough, I talked about this before, but I'm watching each of these a couple times. Once just for fun, and then the second time to pay more attention, I guess. But the first time I saw episode 4, I didn't. It was my least favorite, but now I think it perfectly sets up 5, and it does have that. For some reason, I don't know why I forgot about that opening scene, which was really good. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and it's actually I'm trying to think. Episode 4
You probably
is
can't
less-
remember, right?
Yeah,
because you know them all now. So
I've got notes. Episode 4 is
Got
less
notes.
gory,
Got
but
notes.
episode 5 is pretty gory.
It has teeth.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm digging it, and we are kind of eliminating some suspects.
Kinda.
Well, I mean, besides killing them, there are people that are in
Yeah,
jail
that are incapacitated.
when something happens. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I suspect everybody, and who knows? Maybe there's more than one widow. Maybe there isn't, and I'm not saying that because I know something. I'm just saying these are things I think about.
I think that would make complete sense. I mean,
Also, you know, that poster you just put up, Doc, was holding the knife in the right hand. I don't understand.
Ooh, you're right. It is holding it up in the wrong hand, isn't it?
no, that's the left hand. Oh, it's the right hand. My bad. I'm so stupid. I was like,
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I love the superintendent.
It's like theater. Yeah, I'm really good with my right and left.
Episode 4, he really goes off the rails. And anyway, I'll stop.
What does that
But
mean
we start to
now?
learn a lot more about the background and how they interacted and what happened 12 years before, right? So
Yes.
you're starting to see a lot more of the motivations and why some people are sought after and some. Anyway, I'm done.
Christopher G. Mohr, what was your first impression of Slasher Ripper episodes 4 and 5?
Well, some of issues have not resolved. Certain actors that are just as plain as cardboard in their delivery, and even in the most extreme, you know, like go home. You got too much drugs and you go home. It's like, okay, Keanu. And then the young girl's very bland as well. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just not. This show's getting worse for me.
Oh no!
I kind of just want to go ahead and figure out who the killer is, so I can be done with it.
Well, that's encouraging.
I mean, it's still. I mean, it still has some good stuff in it. You know, I like the time period, and I like some of the elements of that. Even though, as someone that deals with medical records every day, that spine, they could have done a little bit of production design on the spine to show where it just looked like a bloody spine. They didn't even like make it to where it was very odd. Like if you're taking a sledgehammer to your spine, it's gonna
it would be destroyed.
It's gonna be much more impacted than that, and that just seemed like we have a spine in the effects department. Let's just throw some blood on it, and we'll have the woman talking about it. But
that is a good call.
That annoyed me more than anything.
Yeah, I would think it would be shattered, right? Not just dented.
Well, yeah, and so you would see where the impact was. She's like, well, the impact was here and the impact was here. It's like, but anyway, I don't know. I mean, I like Eric McCormack. I think he's really hamming it up with his role. So he's great. I'm loving the magician guy as usual, and you know we get sort of extra elements on his character. But I don't know. I'm just like. You know, I don't know. And they're doing some visual stuff, which annoys me as a filmmaker. If you notice, they have something happens. All of a sudden, they do this thing with the camera. They shake it up like it's an magic 8-ball. It's like, what? Why are you doing every time something impactful happens? Like, there's someone screams, and it's like it's a choice, but does it need to be a choice? And you know, and it seems like half of the episodes, especially these 2 episodes that we watched, when people are drugged up, they do the crazy stuff. And so on top of that, it's just like, I don't know, it just seems weird. And then also we get so many flashbacks. I'd like every 5 seconds, 12 years earlier. And it's almost like the jokes in Family Guy, where it's like where they have to explain the joke or explain a reference and they flash back. And it's like, if you have to do that much, it's not really good storytelling. It's like you're having to do that so much, you know, just do, I don't know. it gets kind of annoying. I think from a storytelling, screenwriting aspect, that's kind of, it keeps taking me out of it because I feel like every 5 seconds, 12 years. But I don't know. I mean, I think they're definitely throwing a lot of things to still throw you off as to who it can be, because now you have well, I don't want to get into it, but you have a person that has abilities to make other people do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that then it could be anybody. That they could be somebody who doesn't know they're the killer. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
to me, that's
I
a
didn't
cool.
even think about that.
Yeah. So to me, that's kind of like a magic trick in itself. So I don't know. I mean, I hate to feel like that I'm crapping on this series so far. I think it has great elements. I think just the execution isn't really working for me. And then also we're continually showing elements of the same stuff. That's kind of like, what is it, Ronin, or that film where they keep showing things from different point of views. And so, but it's like when you have like an episode that's like an hour, it's like continuous flashbacks from this. It's a lot of repetition at some point. But I don't know. I think it had some good moments. I think one moment, well, anyway, it has some good moments. They had one moment that made me laugh just because of the one character.
Which character?
Drugs.
Tell us which it is.
Involving drugs.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
He says this line at the desk that made me laugh out loud, which is really funny.
Yeah, he lost it completely.
Oh yeah. But yeah, and I think it's funny how we started off with all that blood and stuff, and still you have things that are happening to people, but they really don't. I was kind of disappointed, and so I mean, there is one scene I don't like because I don't like stuff involving nails. So I'll say that's gory, but other stuff was more after the fact, and even that was very clean. You know what I mean? Which for some reasons is supposed to be, I guess. But anyway, the show's okay.
There it is. That'll put that on the box. I'm enjoying this. I like the period. I like the characters. There's a couple that I'm rooting for, and even though there's part of the team that probably deserves what they're getting, the more this is going on, the more it's reminding me of the Abominable Dr. Fives. It's kind of like those kind of revenge where 9 times, and they just got to get everybody, and each little chapter is the person that they got to get, just brought out into however many 8 episodes we're getting, 8, 10, however many, and so I'm having a good time with it. Yes, I see what you're saying, Christopher. The more that you talk about, the more I see it. It is sometimes it's a little uneven, and sometimes the quality of certain aspects will ebb and flow, to put it politely. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying the mystery of it. I'm enjoying who it is, the whodunit part. One of my chief suspects, not cheap suspects, but chief suspects, was taken off the table. So I was like, okay, well, nope. and there is an interesting element that they do with one of the episodes that I thought really shook things up a bit, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think we don't really get a resolution to that in episode 5, but I think it'll resolve in 6. There's a number of murders. One murder is different than the others. Let's put it that way. So in the end, I'm having a good time. I really like the widow character. I like the underlying voodoo mojo, whatever part of it that the one guy's bringing into it, because he does have he is doing some stuff behind the scenes with his eyes rolling back, and we have the little supernatural seance from an episode ago. So there is like an undercurrent of something that I'm hoping will kind of bubble to the surface and be a little bit more prominent, but I'll probably be disappointed by that. So yeah, I'm and like you said, there are standouts. Eric McCormick is definitely a standout. He's dastardly charming and he
Yeah.
he throws down the charm, and then the next scene he's just a full out bastard, and it's really a great performance. And I forget the name of the who's plays George. I'm going to find out his name real quick.
Tom Allison.
Yes, I really like his character, and I like his acting, and his character gets probably the most character growth, I guess, character attention in these 2 episodes, and I really enjoyed that. I kind of was with Jeff. 4 didn't really throw me as much, and I think it's because the gore element is kind of lacking. But together, 4 and 5 make a real. I'm glad we did 4 and 5 together because they kind of feel like 2 pieces of a whole. So I'm enjoying it. Is the end of it. So let's go ahead and put that aside, and let's get into our spoiler section, because we got to start talking about who dies and what happens, and what we liked and what we didn't like about all of it. So remind me, just so I know, get context, is who did we leave dying in episode 3?
It was that dude that
Eddie.
got his ear cut off.
Eddie, right?
Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie.
Yeah.
And then
Basil's right hand man.
Henchman.
right.
Yeah.
And who does come back in a way.
Ew.
His performance
Yeah.
has a little bite to it, a little meat.
Dear God.
You guys will get the dad joke when you
Okay.
watch it. And then we'll and then
That's funny.
the inspector guy, who's not called inspector, what is he called?
He's a
Superintendent.
Superintendent. That was like the lamest. I mean, it works inside context, but it was kind of like, compared to the others, it's kind of like, well, that was boring.
It was a letdown. See,
was.
and that happened in 5. And that's what I'm saying. 5.
No, that was in
Wasn't it?
4.
That was the end of 4, right?
Oh, it was
That was
the
the
end
end
of 4.
Right.
But you don't really find out as much until 5 about his death, really.
Well, a little more happens, but we don't get to see it. We just see him being drugged by horses down the street, which not sure.
Leaving a bloody streak.
Yeah. And that was compared to even Eddie's, which was slightly tame compared to the one before it. It's starting.
I think you're right. I thought the same thing. I think that's why I didn't. I hate saying this, but I didn't like 4 as much because there wasn't as much gore.
Yes. It
Mhm.
wasn't
But
visceral.
when you package them together, I think it balances out.
I see,
when they
for me,
even when they lift the sheet, it's not even. It looks,
Right.
it looked bland. It didn't really like somebody had been dragged. It looked bad makeup in that scene. So.
Looks
I've
like
never
it.
seen anybody dragged, so
Well,
he didn't look as bad as I
You've
thought.
seen Road Rash. So.
oh,
Road
What were you about to
Rash.
say, Cleveland? What were you about to say, Crystal?
Oh, I forgot now.
well,
totally
in
did
episode
forget. Yeah, that
episode
was-
5
I
has
really
2
did.
deaths,
Stupid.
right? We get 2 deaths in episode 5. We lose.
Oh, well, yeah. But one is a betrayal. Oh my God. that
One
was
is
so
one is
sad.
not one of them is not like the others, but it's made to be looking like the others, and that's what I want. I wanted to see how that plays out. I think it kind of played out. They kind of hinted because
They just seem to accept it.
yeah, but then they started going
Like-
looking for Salomé, but it was too late. Now the death for Salomé was wonderful. What because the whole laughing bit, because they are laughing as the arms are getting sliced off.
Oh God.
was
Yeah.
so
Oh my God. I was like,
gruesome,
wait,
gory.
what? But
Isn't that just
the
screaming?
fact that they were able to murder someone who they loved and then set them up the way that they did.
Mhm.
God, they might be the worst person in the show. Feels like. I mean,
Well, they
wow.
and they added a lot to his background.
I think
Salamé's.
is that there?
Yeah, we learned a lot more about
I
it.
say-
And
I-
everybody else calls him.
They call him,
Mhm.
but I just think maybe that's kind of a time thing. So,
Would
so,
make sense.
yeah.
Time-wise.
but wow.
But
Like,
they add a lot of background to that person when they
Yes.
show their interactions with Margaret, and
I didn't realize how close they were to the doctor. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't
the
realize the doctor like cut, well, I mean, obviously it makes sense when you think about the cutting and stuff. The first dude got off easy when you think about what a horrible person he is.
Really? That's the one that got eviscerated from the butthole up? Is that what you're saying?
With scissors
Yeah.
in the ball.
Mhm.
Simcoe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
Yeah,
He's horrible.
Well,
he's more of a
all the characters, the majority of the characters on this series are horrible people. I mean, those sisters are. I mean, that one scene where they talk about we're going to sell her virginity and then we're going to sew her back up and sell it again.
Yes.
Oh my!
God.
I know.
Holy crap! I mean, we always talk about men using women, but women using women for their own benefit. I was like, holy, these.
So how is it
evil.
that one sister was involved but not the other? I guess I'm really interested to see how this whole thing is going to shake down.
Well, that's interesting because when we had the seance, it was the same deal, right?
Only the one sister was
although
there.
The same one sister went to the seance and the other sister didn't. I can't remember why she said she didn't go.
Because she had to wait for Cole to pick up
that's
Cole
right.
or for Cole delivery or something. Yeah. So she didn't let her come. But I'm just like, how does the other sister know about this? I mean, apparently not. She doesn't seem like she's on the list. So I'm just, I don't know. The whole relationship's kind of interesting, right? It's weird.
Well, well.
Yeah, and then
I mean, there could be something we don't know about her character, but that would be kind of weird just to open that up. And how many? Is there just one more? Is there just one more episode?
What's that?
Is there how many episodes are there? Is there just one more?
8.
There's 8. Okay, so there's time.
Viviana seems more, which is who we're talking about, right? She's the one. She seems a little more
the more brunette one,
sociable. She's the one that's trying to marry Basil Garvey, right? She wants McCormick to marry her, and then she's the one that runs over to Mrs. Simcoe to tell her that her husband's dead, even before the cops can get there and tell her. I don't know if you remember that or not in the early episode.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I didn't.
And then she also is like always. She's just one of those people that's got to be
busybody.
Busybody, nosy busybody.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, and then these other people have. Maybe she has some kind of relationship with her. It might pop up at some point. So I mean, and there's. But yeah, I mean, that's learning the relationship that the magician guy has with, the pimp guy.
Yeah, that was actually that was interesting.
So,
that was the most interesting part of the whole.
Because
did that surprise you? Really?
No, it didn't surprise me.
It surprised me at all.
What I liked was the outing, if you will, of him. He wasn't going to do anything, and then when the other fellow found out about it, he stood up. So,
I mean, imagine
it's
you're still doing something illegal in that time and stuff. So, I mean, it's like, well,
when he takes Salomé in after her face is cut, right? The pimp, that's who you're talking about, Crenshaw. Does it seem like he's being a nice guy?
Yeah.
Getting her a job, or is he just finding a way to use her to make money?
No, I feel like he did it to be nice. He didn't.
Sure seemed
I
like
mean,
it.
I don't know, but it truly seemed like he really was not okay with them trying to sell, whatever the young girl. Right. He really seems genuine. Yeah. Like so, he does seem like he's like, well, they're adults. They made a choice, and they're selling themselves via a choice, which is actually. As messed up as it is and sounds, it is still technically true, even if they have no other options.
And I think, when you think about that time period, you have certain options. If you're born into wealth or you have skills, some people don't have that luxury, and especially a lot of the women, or if you're into other things. And so with that, I think. At least he has people that are consensually wanting to do this for money, and he's trying to take. I mean, like the the young girl from the very first episode that he was was under his wing and stuff. And so he takes care of these people as almost like a, you know, like a paternal figure, you know? And so, and you have that moment where, you know, he felt bad for that, you know, the person. And so I do see him as being that. And there are lines that he draws with that, you know, and it has to be somebody who's wanting to do that. They understand their plight and they're willing to do that.
But I also see him as taking advantage of the vulnerable. Like when he finds somebody that is in that spot, he lures them in, and then they're
in what way? When did he do that?
Well, he did it with the girl that, you know, Christopher's talking about, and with Salomé. Salomé needs a place to stay, so he lures them in with the.
No, Salomé has been staying there because he's a prostitute. Okay. And then he said, well, I can't afford it. He was staying there.
Okay.
Remember? And he said, I can't afford the room. So no, that's not a fair assessment. He gives them a place to come. That is not the same thing as luring people in. These are grown ass people have you know, they have to take responsibility. If they choose to sell their body, I would go to a pimp that had a place and would protect me versus
just being on the street like the people on the street. You know?
There's a reason pimps exist, and pimps exist to. God, this is so messed up. It's a messed up situation. Okay, so I'm not saying, but you know, I do see him as a protector in some way and. In some degree. Is he happy with the money? I'm sure. Well, I mean, it's his life too, you know.
But it's sort of like, you know, like hate us sort of going off into the sort of like the sex worker industry. But,
I know.
You have like escorts, and you have people like at the Bunny Ranch, you know, to where it's run by people who making sure
so
people
they can
are
be
safe.
safe.
It's a safe environment, and if you're willing to partake in that specific profession, you're fine. And I kind of felt like, it's I think it's more just
it's give and take.
Yeah, because you could automatically say that about anybody. They're just you're saying McDonald's just uses people because
because they need a job and they need
and they get, you know, and so you could say that about any work industry. And it's, to me, it's no different than the butcher or any of these other people. It's just about how, I mean, I think what they're doing in that place is much better than making a girl non-consensually cluck in your living room.
Yep. That was weird and crazy. Well, and think about this. Now, who is taking advantage is that dude who had all the kids working for him. Now, that guy's a piece of poo. Yeah. You know, like he's like,
or the cop when he's like, you know, I want to save you by making you my wife.
Well, okay, but she also this is the moment I realized she was horrible. She didn't need to react that way. I get it. She didn't want to marry him, but boy, it's almost like she did a complete 180, you know, as far as like, and then I'm going to, you know, I will say, I think the acting there, I think her choices were wrong. I think she went way too harsh. I think she went from being then to like, so I can be your sex slave, blah blah blah. And I'm like, Jesus, doesn't make any sense. I didn't have a problem with that.
I felt like that was her standing up for herself, because she spends most of her time having to couch on other people.
There's many ways to do that besides basically saying it the way that she did.
So I don't think if some guy come up to you, he's like, you can, you know, I'll save you. You can be my wife. You can have sex with me, and so that would be okay.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's the way she said it. She's like, so I could be under your thumb. If I was going to have sex with someone, I at least want money for it. I mean, it's her attitude. It's the way that she went from like one extreme to another. And I'm like, this.
Well, but they also made her a laughing stock in front of everybody, making her do things.
She doesn't know that though.
She looks like
to some degree.
They were all laughing at her.
But what did he do? He's the one that stopped him and pulled her to the side and said, "Forget about that." He wasn't.
This is a different time period as well, and so. But also, I think we don't know much about her character as well. There's probably some underlying things.
She's not a good person. She's not a good person, bottom line. She went to Basil and tried to blackmail him. I
Yeah, but you
she's
don't know
not
the
good.
situation with that.
I don't give a fuck what the situation is,
Nice.
because here's the reality. Where does she think she has the right to go to someone and demand money and say she's going to rat on them and tell their past and their history if they don't give her money?
If you're forced in a situation to where you have nothing, you're going to.
That doesn't make you a good person. That doesn't make you a good person.
Doesn't make you a bad person either.
Of course it does. Of course it does. That's the definition of a bad. Really? Yeah. You think, okay, I'm going to go murder someone because I need money and I want to do this. I'm going to go rob someone because I need money.
She was
blackmailing him.
Blackmailing somebody
That's
who's
stealing.
one of the worst human beings in the world.
Okay, but that's irrelevant to what she is doing. Christopher, how does that make it better? No, what an individual has to do is they take accountability for themselves. She has to take accountability for what she decides to do, not for what Basil decided to do. Basil was...
but everybody's turning their back, including the church. Everybody's turning their back. What do you do? What are you supposed to do? And this is a totally different time period than today. So what are you supposed to do?
Totally. I'm with you. I'm with you on her situation.
It's easy for us to make decisions because we don't have to. We live in nice houses and that kind of stuff. I think when you're dealing in that kind of situation, you have nothing. The only way you can deal with it is to know that you have, especially somebody who's a horrible human being like him. But yeah, I mean, not to say it's a good decision, but at the same time, I don't see her as a horrible human being because she has nothing else to do.
Then
but, I don't know, but
I guess I just go there. Okay, I will be honest with you that there were options during that time. They had shopkeepers. She could try to get a normal job. That's true. That's a fact. That's true. She seemed to want to take the easy way out, though. That's all I'm saying with her. I get it. She had but she's still. I think
that's options are limited. I have more issues with the girl just turning all religious all of a sudden. Oh my gosh.
I will say
this. Widow is annoying me.
Margaret is still on my suspect list, even though she's dead. She's on my suspect list.
Well,
I suspect that she's possessing various people.
Well, because
that would be interesting.
Well, that's what I mentioned earlier when we had the whole seance type thing, because I think there's ability to do that. And you have like the magician guy who kind of meddles in some.
So what if the girl is whatever Vivi? What is her name? The young girl, the one they're trying to sell. What if that's Margaret's daughter?
Verdi.
What if Verdi is Margaret's daughter?
I'm suspecting that too. There's a lot of
there's a lot of things it could be, but she's so tiny. Let's be real, she couldn't pull it off herself. She would absolutely have to have someone helping her. But still, I pose to you the question: how do they know all the details? It
has to be somebody on the inside.
I really hope they explain that, because come on, they know everything. So unless you're intimately involved, I think it would be hard to know all that.
All right. Well, Jeff is back. Let's go.
You missed it, Jeff. You missed all the fun.
We'll talk about it later.
I was having fun.
There were some fisticuffs. All right, let's go ahead and wrap.
I still love Christopher. That just proves I love him.
Crystal.
The fact that I can talk to him like that means I love him, because I don't talk to someone like that if I don't like him.
We got to wrap this up. We're 10 minutes over. All right, let's give our final. Let's give our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. And Crystal, you are up first.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 4.25. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, and oh god, my favorite scene. I know I keep talking about it, and I don't care. I think it's funny that they put the dude in the pie, and for some reason that's probably why I keep focusing on episode 4, because I'm like, ugh, it's like the worst possible thing I could imagine happening, and just finding a tooth. No, I don't like meat anyway. I can't even imagine how, guys, I would be so messed up. I mean, you don't even know. I can't explain it to you how that would ruin me. But God, there's a couple good scenes. But yeah, that's the one that still I'm gonna remember for probably the whole series. So I gotta say that one.
The teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me of
Gross.
a certain play that's out there. But anyway, we'll keep.
Oh yeah, totally.
Jeff Mohr, welcome back, sir. What was your score, 1 to 5, and your favorite scene?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit. I don't care if we are long. So I didn't have. I never have any of the same problems that Christopher has with this stuff. I did not have a problem with the acting. I just think he's playing that character who's serious and thoughtful and flat and the same with the other one. So also was the scene in this one, and I don't want to give this away, but was there a scene in this one of these with apples?
Apples?
No.
Okay,
No.
I won't talk about that. But the stuff it's something that
apples.
It's not bad.
Yeah. The woman trying to give apples to people.
Yes.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah. That was it. Okay. Yeah.
I was trying to think. Nobody died.
Yeah.
By apples.
I was like, no, I know. Me too.
It's not all about the death, Doc. I'm just. It's like anyway. What Christopher was saying about the time and the choices that people had. A lot of we've been watching a lot of period dramas, of royalty and courts and stuff, and that's why there was so much conniving and subterfuge and conspiracies going on, because the women had to find a way to hook up with somebody that had land and or money, or they were going to end up shite, And so this woman, they're out there trying to hand her apples. And she's like, why don't you give me something worth something, like a husband with a job?
Man with a job.
I'm like, that was their options.
God.
Or, go work for Crenshaw or something. So anyway, I'm going to say 4.5. I think I'm at a 4.25 for one, and anyway, I'm averaging it out to 4.5. Sure. And favorite scene, let's see, Crystal took the meat pies, so I don't know, I can't help it. I'm going to take Salomé's death.
Oh yeah.
That was,
I thought it was incredible. Shooting them up, and
great performance too.
She was already high because she was smoking opium. I think she was kicking gong around, as Cab Calloway calls it. Anyway, and then gets shot up with morphine, I think, and so she was just totally not there. I just thought that was great. And I got to mention, you guys talked about it before, but the superintendent, when he's trying to give himself that shot.
Oh, and just drinks it.
He's just shaking so much he can't do it, so he just squirts the syringe down his throat. I thought I was gonna die. All right, I'm done.
He says that line or whatever. It's like, was it like second cocks in hell or something?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Like an Exorcist line, and I was like, that's the part I laughed out loud
too. I think.
Yeah, like my mother's like second. I was like, what is he possessed now? This turned into an Exorcist movie. I was like, man, it's like,
go for it, Christopher.
Oh God, yes. He's like, yeah.
Well, and I was going to say too that the I'm sorry, Christopher, but I was going to say too that all the flashbacks that they had in the one section in this one episode, I felt like that I noticed that, and it was putting me off. But then I decided that they were doing that in order of the reveals. Mm-hmm. It made a difference when you revealed something and what you saw next, and that if you I thought it was effective, even though it at first irritated me. It worked well. All right, I'm done.
No, it's more infective. I'm just kidding.
For you,
I'll give it a 2.75.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I mean, it's still above average.
It is above average.
Yeah,
so it's
that's
not
true.
bad.
That's
Yeah, I'm just some of the acting is still all over the place for me. Although I did find it funny that I championed a character moment that Crystal didn't like, so I thought that's kind of funny that roles were switched for a moment there. That Jeff luckily missed that out. We were both possessed. As for
forced me to watch our own podcast.
Yes.
Yes, watch. We talk all about you.
Why are Mommy and Daddy fighting?
I'll say, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be anyway. I was gonna make a Spanky reference, but that sounded weird. I'll say favorite scene. I like. You know, I love the magician guy. I can call it.
of course.
I'm just gonna call him magician guy. I probably forget his name, but
George.
when him and Eric McCormick have that sort of face off.
Oh yeah.
I just love that. Was a great. Just the two.
They're so good.
The two big characters in this series. It's like, and just that intensity between the two, you know, and I don't know that those two actors make the series for me.
Yep.
And so if they get killed off, which they probably will, and we're left with Blander McBlanderson and
the Blandette.
Blander McBlanderson.
Prim and Prissy.
Who is left?
I'm not sure if I'll be.
Why do I feel like the sister is not even afraid, by the way? Doesn't it seem like she's not even afraid? That's so sorry. I'm
well, again, that maybe by the end it's like, it was me
The one
all
trying to
along.
sell the stuff.
No, the other one, the one that was at the dinner, the eating with them.
Oh, okay.
She
Okay.
just seems like
Vivian.
she's like
Viviana.
whatever.
I
you
think
know,
she's too dumb. That's what.
that's what it is.
Well, she's got like chocolate on the side of her face. Like,
Yeah,
that
I'm like,
was great.
what? The?
That was great.
Too dumb. Oh my god! What was your favorite scene? Did you?
Oh yeah,
my
sorry.
favorite scene is the McCormick.
Oh, the face-off.
Oh, the
Yeah.
face-off. Yes, the face-off. Thank you. Yes, I got totally distracted by the whole.
Me too.
All right, so
Yeah.
my score is going to be 4. I'm just going to go straight up 4.
Hey, good.
And enjoying the hell of it. And like I think Christopher might have nailed it on the head. It is those two actors, Eric McCormick and Tom Allison, that are really grounding this. And when they're like, that was a great scene when they're together. But for me, the my favorite scene, since it can't be when Salomé gets disarmed, is
Yes.
is when
So punny today.
yeah, when her the object of her dreams is really just giving her some shit, and she gets upset and turns around and just boom, knife to the chest. And I just like that scene. I liked her reaction to it. I liked, then you could see, because it was an evolving reaction, because it started off angry, then it started off in shock and in terror, and and then it turned around to, how can I get out of this?
On in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I just thought that their performance in this scene and later on, I just really like that. I like that confrontation. I like that both the motivation and the urgency of how it happened. Because it wasn't intentional. It just was out of.
It was passion.
Yeah, it was out of passion. That's a great way to put it. And you felt it. I felt it. I felt why she did it. So, or they did it, or he did it. Whichever direction we want to go.
Well, Crenshaw did call them the F word, but even knowing that he is
that's right.
Also,
that's what triggered.
Yeah, I think that's what was the actual trigger to actually do it. But clearly, that's
it hurt. It hurt her. It hurt them, right? So,
yeah,
it struck. So anyway,
well, and then they had just found out that he was with George. He's with George now, and that's gotta yeah.
And then when she tells George to get the F out of the room,
yeah.
he's like, "What?"
That's all right. The whole situation's very sad, really.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. There's our very passionate review of Slasher Ripper 4 and 5. I think you're going to know why we're going to continue doing this. There's a lot to say. So now we're caught up, and each week will be one episode. We have
Yay.
4 more?
Three.
3 more to go. I can't math.
6, 7, 8.
Don't
6,
do
7,
math
8, yeah.
live. We have 3
Yeah.
more to go, so look forward to those. We hope
Jeff
you
knows how it ends. I mean,
No,
Jeff knows
stop,
everything.
stop. All right.
Nothing I said this episode had anything to do with.
Mm-hmm.
I have no control here. I'm just totally just bury me now. All right. Please let us know what you think about it, and let us in the comments down below. Love to hear
Totally.
it. Jeff, Crystal, thank you for joining me. This was confusing as hell. Thank you.
Yes, it was fun. It's passionate.
Yes, we definitely are. In fact, I think Christopher is actually more into this than he wants to let us know.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
really-
no, he's more into arguing with me.
Well, that
That's
might be
what it
true.
really is.
Maybe.
might be
No,
what it
there's
is.
elements I like and elements I don't like. So I don't like totally hate it or anything. It's just like most things. You're like, oh, I
So-
like this.
Keep
And
saying
I'll fight
that.
for the stuff
Keep
I
saying
like.
that. No. Yes, you will. All right, let's get at it. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.